days.
Nobody's counting.
Why don't we do it again, like Wilson? No,
See you in April.
it's great to be back here today. That is for sure. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes approved. Wow. No department comments or agenda items. Okay, Mayor Maddox.
Yes, sir. Mr. Tyner, first and foremost, our prayers and thoughts continue to be with you and everything. That you've had a tough few days. We know.
Thank you.
I certainly think, I know I speak for all of our team members here, and I would think the city council yesterday's service was very beautiful. And the job that you did was phenomenal. I don't know if I could have done the job for my, if I were in that situation. So you did an amazing job.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you. And thank you all.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you all for coming. I think everybody was there, and it's everybody knows that was my number one, and and I've had people, all my friends say, we all know this would be the hardest day of your life because the way you and your mama are, and I've had two other brothers. We were all mama's boy, but I was really the mama's boy. And I still just like this morning. The hardest thing, I told you this, Mayor, the hardest thing that I ever had to do in my life was, because I moved in with her after the tornado, right? And hardest thing I ever had to do was, I was with her when she took her last breath, and was to let go of her hand and leave that hospital and go home.
Yeah.
And for the first time with her not there.
Yeah.
And then, and I fixed her breakfast every single morning, and even this morning, I had me a little cry this morning, because there's always, get her coffee and cinnamon toast, and feed the animals, and sit down and have a coffee. We did that every morning, and I looked over at the spot she always sat, and she's not there, and she never is going to be there again, but, it just, it's something that I'm just going to have to take one day at a time and stay busy. I went right back on my show the next day because I just knew that's what she would want. And then, of course, I couldn't wait to be here today after yesterday. But I want to thank everybody. My mother was so many. One thing I forgot to tell everyone, I think they were still surprised that she eloped. I seen my dad was 12 years older than her. But one of the last things she told me was she knew how sensitive I was about my weight, okay? And this is typical mother. She said, Kip, now, this is about 3 weeks ago, right before her stroke. And she said, now don't get upset, because she knew I would. She said, don't get upset. I'm just telling you this because I care about you. She said, she pointed my stuff. She said, you got to lose some weight. She said, you don't look like yourself, but more importantly, you're not healthy. And so when I started getting dressed this morning and took my little pajama top off, I thought, oh my, Mama's ever right. so that's going to be my goal. So anybody in here that sees me doing something bad with what I eat, something, knock it out of my hand.
We'll ask Vicky just to change that to apples.
No, don't do that.
But that's,
Three meals.
that's the kind of,
3 meals a day will help too.
yes, it will. And that's the kind of, that's what I'm going to miss. It was always good advice on things, and always for your better, for your good. And, and again, the story of how she handled the cross burning in our yard was still one of my favorites of my mother ever. That's when I think I saw that a white woman in the 60s that would get out of the car angry. I was scared. It scared me. And then somebody wrote a sign that said, "End lover, leave the neighborhood. You're a disgrace to Southern womanhood." She couldn't wait till the sun came up next day. She was knocking on everybody's door, giving them the sign, their name. They didn't know why. she found out who wrote that note. And so that's the type of
Smart, that's
strength,
smart.
that's the kind of woman
Well, the
that,
statute of limitations.
In
is running out.
executive session.
Can you tell us what she did to that person?
Yeah.
but, you know, I never will forget that. I said, my mother is, like, I went with her like we were, you know, getting $1 from, you know, doing, raising money for March of Dimes. We went every door and I was with her. And, you know, and then to get back at everybody, but anyway, she found out who wrote that note. And then to get back at everybody that year, she had me dressed as John Kennedy for Halloween. President Kennedy, because everybody in our neighborhood hated the Kennedys. That's the kind of mother I had, and those are the memories that I'll always take with me of her. And but anyway, thank you all. It was meant so much to me to look out there and see, like Busby and I were telling, people that I haven't seen almost since high school that were there, and I just thank everyone.
Well, yeah, we're all with you, and life is a collection of memories, and certainly your mother left you with so many good memories. You did a great job sharing those yesterday.
Thank you
I
very
do
much.
have one
Means a
piece
lot.
of city business. Certainly everyone's watching with attention the potential for winter weather this coming Friday. As I sent y'all last night, we're gonna meet as a team tomorrow, evaluate where we are. It gives us a good 48-hour window before we get into the weather event itself. City Hall will remain open. Operations will remain. Now, to the extent of what we can do and how we can do it, that certainly will be determined by the winter weather. We ask everyone to please pay attention to the city's social media feeds, also to the Tuscaloosa County EMA social media feeds. Under the city, county, Northport, and our work collaboration with the Tuscaloosa County EMA, they are responsible for warming shelters and things of that nature. It's a consolidated, coordinated effort among all three governments. So please continue to follow their social media feeds. As the council, if you need anything from us, we'll certainly give you the numbers that we always do when we run into certain events. But just to let you know, we're paying attention and we will be ready.
Man, I have really been so out of the kind of weather loop, especially what's expected Friday.
You know, it's easy. Part of me wants to go, how many times do we do this song and dance where we say we're going to get ice and snow, and then we look up and we get a few flurries. We've spent all this time and energy and nothing happens. I tend to lean in that direction. We're right on that line. The last I looked at the 1 o'clock weather forecast. We're right on this line of snow, ice, wintry mix. I don't think anyone will really know to a few hours out, but we're just going to prepare as if it's going to be 2014 again when we had the unexpected ice storm that occurred.
Well, as a former weatherman, I can tell you how many times I said tornado, and nothing ever happened till it did.
Yeah.
You know
well,
that one.
After 2014, where at the morning briefing, EMA told us there would not be snow or ice within 100 miles of Tuscaloosa. You know, we learned a lesson that day that we're going to assume if it's snowing in Indianapolis, we're going to be ready. So we're never going to repeat that that mistake again.
In my experience at the police department, it was always Friday night. So if it's coming, if they say it might come Friday, I bet it does, because it was always Friday night.
I think the bigger decision will be for the school system. When do they want to make a call, whether to have school the next day? That's a very difficult decision. A lot of times you do have some issues in North Tuscaloosa County, and if the county schools normally cancels, the city schools follow suit. So I haven't discussed this with Dr. Derry yet, but I assume like us, they're going to try to, see what the next 24 to 48 hours bring before making any real, hard and fast decisions. But if you need anything in the meantime, let us know.
Okay.
And that's all I have. We will have an executive session to discuss a security matter.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mayor. Brandy.
All right, so I've got one quick board appointment to go over with you guys today. This is the Tuscaloosa Public Education Building Authority. Our three appointees, Miss Reba Essery, David Ryan, and Jim Harrison III, their terms have all expired. They all have expressed a desire to be reappointed. For this board has not met since 2016.
I was gonna say.
It's a great board.
So, but we are required to make
We
sure
don't
all
pay
of
them,
our,
do we? They
no,
don't?
sir, we do
Okay.
not. We are required to make sure that all of our appointees are still current appointees. This would be for another 6-year term with your approval.
Absolutely, let them have it.
Run back.
That is all I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Hey, let's make them meet. Mr. Holmes.
Good afternoon, council. I will start right at the top of page 2, where on page 9, you'll be authorizing the purchase of equipment, supplies, or services at a total of $2,890. This is previously budgeted purchase and comes to you from the purchasing department. On page 10, you'll be authorizing the purchase of equipment, supplies, or services for the water and sewer department. This is a Eaton VFD 480V pump. That is $11,285. Again, is a previously budgeted purchase. On page 11, you'll be authorizing the payment of property taxes for the 2023 foreclosure sale. That is a total of $167.89. That comes to you from my office. On page 12, you'll be authorizing amendment number 1 to the memorandum of understanding with city departments and authorizing the mayor to execute the amendment for the Powell basketball court renovations and improvement projects. This came to you in projects on December the 17th. On page 13, you'll be authorizing a minor public works contract with Building Specialties Company. This is a $29,614.70, and this came to you in projects on the 17th. On page 14, you'll be authorizing a minor public works contract with Rick's Service Company, LLC. This is a total of $4,850, and this was discussed in projects on the 17th. On page 15, you'll be authorizing a contract for professional construction and administration services with Duncan Coker Associates for the 25th Street Multi-Use Courts project. This is a total of $59,460, and again was discussed in projects on the 17th. On page 16 and 17, you'll be tentatively awarding a public works contract with Amison and Associates, Inc. for the 25th Street Multi-Use Courts construction project. This is a total of $502,894.92, and again was discussed in projects on the 17th. On page 18, you'll be authorizing a contract with Evoqua Water Technologies, LLC. This is a total not to exceed $350,000, and I think I may be saying that right finally, and that was discussed in projects on the 17th. On page 19 and 20, you'll be tentatively awarding a public works contract to Video Industrial Services for the 2024 CMP lining project. This is a total of $197,778 and came to you in projects on the 17th. On page 21, you'll be authorizing minor public works contract with L&D Moore Contracting, LLC. This is a total not to exceed $99,910, and again came to you in projects on the 17th. On page 22, you'll be authorizing Tuscaloosa Fire Rescue on behalf of EMS Prevention to accept donations totaling $421. On page 23 and 24, you'll be authorizing amendment number 6 to the fiscal year 2025 General Fund Reserve for Future Improvements Fund budget. This came to you in finance on the 17th. On page 25, you'll be appointing Brandy Johnson, Chief Election Officer for the 2025 municipal elections. On page 26, you'll be appointing Haley Abbott to assist the absentee election manager in the performance of duties related to the 2025 municipal elections. On page 27 through 30, you'll be calling for an election of mayor and council members of the city of Tuscaloosa and chair and members of the city of Tuscaloosa Board of Education. On page 31, you'll be establishing poll hours for the 2025 municipal election on March 4th, 2025, and possible runoff election on April 15th, 2025.
So, question,
Yes,
I was hoping it was this week.
so the primary election is what date, March the
March 4th.
4th? And if required, a runoff on April 15th, so that's 6 weeks? Do we have to, are we the ones that set that?
you call for it and set the dates, but it's established by code when they have to happen.
It used to be 2 weeks, and then it went
And
to
I
6
asked
weeks.
because several people, fortunately, I was
Right.
not, but several people have remarked, since I've been here, that that's hard to explain long period. Is there, anybody know why we do that?
It's set by state code.
And I think,
It's set by state law.
Try it
Yeah,
here.
well, I thought you said we did have the discretion.
We don't have the
Call for it.
discretion. We have to, as a body, the city council has to formally set these dates. We set them following state code.
So we couldn't do it in 3 weeks.
No, sir.
years ago, wasn't it 2 weeks, a runoff was,
Runoff was 3 weeks when I got elected.
yeah.
But they changed it to 6 after 9/11, so service people
That's right.
could have a chance to get ballots out and get ballots back in.
Well, since that's no longer applicable,
I think it's,
what's the mechanism for impacting that?
6 weeks is brutal.
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
How do we change it?
Change state law.
Change state law?
Chris England, call
So
Chris.
that would be on our legislative agenda?
It is not on what the council has passed, but we can certainly.
But that, the routing for changing state law would be the legislative agenda.
6 weeks is a long time.
Okay. And
It's awful.
can y'all afterwards, will y'all point me to where
Yes,
that's
sir.
contained? So I can look at it? Thank you.
4 seasons.
I believe I was on page 32, where you'll be setting qualification fees for the 2025 municipal election on March 4th, 2025, and possible runoff election on April 15th, 2025. On page 33, you'll be setting compensation for municipal election workers for the city of Tuscaloosa. On page 34 and through 37, you'll be annexing approximately 5.6 acres located at 5921 New Watermelon Road to the corporate limits of the city of Tuscaloosa for the McWright's Ferry Land Company. This came to you from the Planning Commission on October 21st. On page 38, you'll be amending section 16-12310 of the Code of Tuscaloosa. This came to you in admin on the 17th. On page 39 through 41, you'll be amending sections 3-18 and 7-18 of the Code of Tuscaloosa. That again came to you in admin on the 17th. And on page 42, you'll be authorizing amendment number 1 to the 2025 Elevate Tuscaloosa Fund Budget, which again was discussed in admin on the 17th. Are there any questions for me? I know all of these meetings were several weeks ago. Thank you.
Oh, I do have a question, not on the agenda though. When are we meeting with the legislators?
Legislative breakfast is January 22nd.
I think it's January 22nd is my, here, let me check real quick.
Because I had remembered but forgotten at the same time.
It is, yes, sir, January 22nd, 8 a.m. at the Tuscaloosa River Market.
One of those things you mentioned was we had to set a
Thank
fee.
Yes, sir, the qualification fee.
Do we need to discuss that today?
It's also set by state
It's
code.
also set by state code. Most
Okay.
most of what we have to do is a
Okay.
formality following state
Okay.
code.
Hey,
Just make sure you got that.
before you can be a candidate for office and qualify, you have to do that statement of economic interest, right? Other than just pay a fee, I mean, what does the statute say?
So
Be a
for
candidate.
qualifying, you would need to fill out your qualifying form, which I will have in my office for whoever comes to qualify. You'll need to pay your fee. And then you will also need to make sure a current statement of economic interest is on file with the Ethics Commission.
Which we all have to do now anyway, every year, right?
We have to
Yeah,
do
it's-
by the
Yeah,
end of
you
this
have to
month,
go
right?
on and do, usually we don't do it till March, whatever that deadline is, March or April, but you have to do that before you are a
So
legitimate
the
candidate,
day that
qualified
you come
candidate.
to qualify, from the day that you fill out your forms, you have 5 days to make sure that you have a current form on file with the Ethics Commission.
And the
But we can do it this afternoon if
Yeah.
we want to.
Correct,
It
yes.
should be open now, right?
Is that
The
that
portal
long
should
one
be
that
open.
way you
It's
have
the one that you
sit-ops
go
or all
online.
this-
Yeah, you do it online.
Yes,
You
that
do it
one.
online now.
But that's that long one.
Yeah, that's that long. But it's easier to
It's not
do
so
now,
long if you like me, don't
because you can basically roll over the one with Pat, it'll be in there, and you go through it, it doesn't take
Oh,
much
yeah.
time. And the fee is what?
Set up.
If you guys approve it tonight, it'll be $200
If we vote for
for
it, it's
council
$200.
and mayor. Yes,
Just
sir,
make sure you
$200.
got it in,
And it'll be $50 for school board.
Just run it up to about 5,000.
Is that set by
And then
state law?
nobody.
Yes, sir.
$50 for school board?
Yes, sir.
That's cool.
That's how they can't count higher than that.
Well, we should be able to vote. Can we add a couple of those candidates? Can we charge them more in those districts? I'm sure they're watching.
Yeah.
All right. All right, projects 230, no finance today. That's 2 in a row. What's up with you, Busby?
They're phasing me out, I think.
We're not spending any money, kids.
Admin 4, properties 5, then council, of course, at 6. Tomorrow, Historic Preservation Commission meets. Fire and Police Pension Board will meet Monday. Any other comments, communications at all, by anybody in the room? All right, is there a motion we go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Holmes?
Yes, sir. As your city attorney and a attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Alabama, I can certify that this executive session is to discuss security plans, procedures, assessments, measures, or systems, or the security or safety of persons, structures, facilities, or other infrastructure, including without limitation, information concerning critical infrastructure, the public disclosure of which could reasonably be expected to be detrimental to the public safety or welfare.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. If you're not